Welcome back, guys. Today I'll be doing unitary matrix.
A square matrix A is an unitary matrix if this is the conjugate transpose. So you find the conjugate of A followed by transposing it. And if it is equal to the inverse of A, then we can say it is unitary. Let's look at an example. So for example, I am going to test if this matrix A is equal to I over 2 root 3 over 2 root 3 over 2 and I over 2. So I'm going to determine if this is a unitary matrix. First, I need to find the conjugate and followed by finding the conjugate of this matrix, I'll be doing the transpose. Remember conjugate. If I have a complex number, say a plus I, some persons will say a plus j, where I and j is the imaginary number, the conjugate of this will be a minus j or I, whichever one you use. And if I have a minus I, then the conjugate will be a plus I, where I is the imaginary, A is the real. So here I have imaginary. This is an imaginary number because I have I here is the same thing as half I. And this is the same as half I. So to find the conjugate, it will become minus I over 2. If I had a real part here, say for example, it was 1 plus I, then I would write below here 1 minus I over 2. Root 3 over 2 is real. That is why it's not changing to minus. And root 3 over 2 here is also real. But this is imaginary, so I will put a minus I over 2. So that is my conjugate. Now I'll be finding the transpose of this conjugate. The transpose is changing rows into columns or columns into row. So this is my first row, which will become minus I over 2 root 3 over 2. And my next row will be root 3 over 2 and minus I over 2. So this represents the first part of proving that it is unitary. I've done this. The next part is the inverse. Now, let me just remind you how to find the inverse of a matrix. Say we have a matrix A, composed of elements A, B, C, and D. If I'm going to find the inverse of this, it's equal to 1 over the determinant of A. The determinant is found by multiplying A times D minus B times C. Followed by, I will switch these two. So I will have D on the top, A right here. Change the signs of the next two. So I have minus B minus C. So this is how we find the inverse. So matrix A, I am going to find the inverse of this. Let me just rewrite what is matrix A. So matrix A is equal to I over 2 root 3 over 2 root 3 over 2 and I over 2. So to find the inverse, it's 1 over the determinant, where I'm going to multiply these two. So this is A times D. So if I have I over 2 times I over 2, I times I is I squared. And 2 times 2, that's 4. So in other words, these two being multiplied, a times d, which is this part. So I'll have I squared over 4 minus, I multiply b times c. This is b times c. So it is root 3 over 2 times root 3 over 2. So root 3 times root 3 is like a 2/3 being the same. So we will get just the number 3. And then 2 times 2, that's 4. So here I'd have 3 over 4. Now, having my 2 by 2 matrix, I will now switch these two. As the rule says, you switch these two. So we have I over 2, and this is I over 2. Next, we are going to change the signs of these two. So I have minus root 3 over 2 and minus root 3 over 2. So I repeat, finding the inverse is 1 over the determinant. So we multiply I times I over 2 times I over 2. That gives us I squared over 4. And then we multiply root 3 over 2 times itself to give us 3 over 4. And next, switching these two, changing the signs of these two. So what I need to do now is simplify. So I have A inverse is equal to 1 over I squared is negative 1. So I will have negative 1 here over 4 minus 3 over 4. Still going ahead to have I over 2 minus root 3 over 2 minus root 3 over 2, and then we have I over 2. Now, minus 1 minus 3, that's negative 4. So I have 1 over negative 4 over 4. This will cancel, so that would be a minus 1, and minus 1 over 1 is the same thing as negative 1. So it means this part I could just write minus 1, and then this is I over 2 minus root 3 over 2 minus root 3 over 2, and then I over 2. Multiplying all of this by minus 1, so the sign change. So I'll have negative I over 2, positive root 3 over 2, so everything sign will change. Positive root 3 over 2, and minus I over 2. So this is our second part. And as you can see, looking at this, you can see that both of them are the same. So we can say indeed it is unitary. So it is a unitary matrix.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have more questions, leave a comment below. Have a great day.